The NFL season has been off to kind of a flumpy start, huh? Like, the only thing that's really notable about it so far is that there's a kid down there in Dallas doing a pretty damn decent impersonation of Tony Romo, and then you've got the Flumpidelphia Eagles being undefeated right now, and then a whole bunch of other underperforming, weirdly performing, not performing teams that have Super Bowl aspirations, but just horrifically falling short. Okay, a bunch of people have just decided to get old just like that, and Tom Brady's too busy trying to keep a family together that really doesn't want to be together. But as much as things change, the more they stay the same, because now you have, stop me if you've heard this before, if you've been following football for as long as I have, because I'm old enough to remember that whenever a superstar wide receiver gets traded down to Oakland, well, in this case, Las Vegas, things kind of end up going south very quickly. And here is the latest in a long string, because the one that immediately comes to mind, Randy Moss, okay, one of the greatest wide receivers ever, went down to the black hole and played as such until his career got resuscitated by being yanked out of there and thrown with, the previously mentioned Tom Brady. Didn't intend for that to happen. But Davante Adams, right? The big superstar, okay, one of the best wide receivers currently in the game right now, flourishing with Aaron Rodgers, wants to go hook up with his old teammate, Derek Carr, down there in Vegas in that brand new place. Okay, they got a wide open spot because other wide receivers with the Las Vegas Raiders kind of have a propensity for driving fast cars way too fast and killing abroad. Haven't heard anything about that case in a long time. I'm sure that's being settled out of court. But Davante Adams kind of spurred out after the Raiders lost to Kansas City in a bit of a heartbreaker. They're 1-4 currently. Like this past weekend, they were on a bye week, so we don't know how he would have performed. I guess we'll figure out what they're going to be doing here next week. Don't know who they're playing. Frankly, don't really care. I like the Raiders and all, but they moved to Vegas and they started to do a whole bunch of weird shit. I'm Oakland Raiders until the fucking day I die. But no use crying over spilt milk. We can cry over spelt photogs, which, again, if you're going to be taking out your aggression, okay, you're going to put your misplaced anger into something, why would you assault somebody who you know is poor and you know is going to be litigious? A photojournalist, like, these guys make fucking crumbs, okay? You give them the opportunity, you give them a reason to sue a multi-millionaire, they're going to take it, justifiably so, too. Like, what the fuck? He was just there taking pictures and you just decided to fucking we lost. And it's like, okay, cool, just calm down. It's a fucking game, for Christ's sakes. At the end of the day, your checks are still going to clear as long as you perform accordingly. Somebody's going to come and rescue you. It's fine. You guys are in a tough division. I get it. But anyways, Davante Adams has been charged with misdemeanor assault after shoving a photographer to the ground on Monday night, according to multiple reports citing Kansas City police. Raiders wideout pushed the photog to the ground on the way to the locker room after his team lost the heartbreaker 30-29 to the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas. Yeah, it's a big one. That's a big game. Interdivision rivals, okay, a long old history right there dating back to the 60s, for Christ's sakes. But the Chiefs are going to do what the Chiefs are going to do, and the Raiders are ultimately going to be the Raiders, regardless of what city they call home. According to KCTV5, the Kansas City Municipal Court issued a citation on Wednesday alleging that Adams did, by an intentional act, overt act, inflict bodily injury, or cause an unlawful offense contact upon the victim by pushing him to the ground, using two hands, causing whiplash and a headache, and my shoes fell off, and my glasses. Possible minor concussion. Oh, shit. Adams has an online court date scheduled for November 10th. Interesting. And that's all he has so far when it comes to any punishment, because the NFL, I was looking for, okay, what are they going to be doing? Because God knows they will just suspend somebody like that. Now, he committed something akin to an assault. He's not being charged criminally. I don't think that this needs to be escalated up to a criminal thing. He can obviously pay this dude off, and that's likely what's ultimately going to end up happening. Make all this shit go away, reach a settlement in some form or fashion. And that's what this is, right? He can just plead it out, okay? Just end up getting this dismissed. It's probably the first charge that he faces, but the fact that it even got to that point, okay, because, yeah, just following these pictures, okay, he's going into the tunnel, okay, that all makes sense, and then where did he find this dude? Okay, if we can just line everybody up, okay, he's on the ground right there. I don't know, he was it's clear that he pushed him, right? Like, there's video of it. After the incident, Adams tweeted an apology. Sorry to the guy I pushed over after the game. Obviously very frustrated at the way my game ended, or the way the game ended, sorry. And when he ran in front of me as I exited, that was my reaction, and I felt horrible immediately, he wrote. That's not me. My apologies, man. Hope you see this. I understand the situation that you're in. You can rationalize that all, but just saying, I hope you see this shit, and then you just thought that nothing else would happen to you. Like, come on, man. You got to take a little bit more responsibility than that. You had an off week. I would have went down to the stadium and then tried to find that dude in some form or fashion and apologize that way. See if you could de-escalate the situation before it elevated to any sort of charges being filed. But it's interesting. It's interesting how the NFL hasn't intervened, because everything that I'm seeing right now, like it says here, NFL Media's Tom Pelissero reported on Tuesday that the league is weighing discipline for Adams, including a potential suspension. Interesting. Weighing options, okay? But then I've also seen reports that the NFL is going to wait for the legal conclusions or for the legal process to carry out and wait until the end of it in order to lay down any sort of suspension in some form or fashion. Interesting. Okay, you can have a assault be committed on camera, and my entire stance on this, just let these dudes play, let all that shit, anything that happens off the field, you can deal with it off the field. I understand he was in his uniform and this happened at the stadium, but deal with that, and that's fine, okay? The Raiders have a certain perception about them that's been around for a long fucking time. They're the bad boys of the NFL. Let them be as such. I don't care, okay? Just fucking deal with it out there. But let's just take everything in context, because the NFL doesn't subsist in a fucking vacuum. We got to take a look at all of the context surrounding that. Somebody who commits a crime actually on camera doesn't get suspended. But somebody who ends up catching a case by a bitch who has a vendetta and wants to get paid off, he can have his entire fucking career ruined. Interesting. Very fucking interesting how that works, okay? Because he's going to be allowed, okay? Because this isn't going to be done by next week when they... I'll just check it because I don't know for sure. Oh, they do have it at the bottom here. The Raiders are on a bye week this week. Host the Texans in Vegas next Sunday. So, yeah, this upcoming Sunday. I'd imagine he's going to be there for the game, and that's totally fine by me, okay? But if we're doing an apples-to-apples comparison and not my idealistic situation with what is, it doesn't really comport. But he's not the only high-profile superstar, skill position player that is facing some legal troubles. Now, this one, it's pretty much all cut and dry. We can kind of see where this one's going to ultimately end up going. We just don't know what's going to happen with the suspension, and, the Raiders in the past couple of years have had some problems. He had John Gruden and his, frankly, he got assassinated out of that position. Let's fucking keep it a buck right there. I did my video on that one. You got Alvin Kamara, who did play, just finished up a game the Saints lost to, I can't quite remember, but he rushed for 99 yards. He's totally fine. He's out there on the fucking streets, and again, totally fine with that. But running back Kamara faces $10 million lawsuit on top of a felony charge. That's pretty serious, and this guy's allowed to play. But again, this has nothing to do with women, and now all of a sudden these dudes who face serious fucking criminal charges, let's keep it a buck, they get to go out there and hit the field. Tell me we live in a gynocentric social order. Tell me the feminine, correct version of the world is what it is without having to tell me that it's not a gynocentric social order. Saints running back, yes, faces that. Lawsuit filed this week against New Orleans Saints running back Alvin Kamara seeks $10 million in damages and a jury trial in connection to an assault in Las Vegas during... Fucking Vegas again? I didn't even know that. I thought this had nothing to do with that, but it's another assault during Pro Bowl weekend. Last year, sorry. Kamara faces felony battery charge and alleged assault of Darnell Green Jr., who was leaving the club at a hotel casino at around 6:30 a.m. February 5th. Oh, was he waking up early to go to the gym? I don't think so. Who was leaving... Oh, I'm sorry. Kansas City Chiefs cornerback... Why is Kansas City in both of these situations? That's a little fucking weird. It's obviously coincidence. It's just funny. You got Vegas and Kansas City involved in a completely separate altercate. Anyways, Chris Lamons also has been charged, as well as Darren Young and Percy Harris. Kamara played in the February 6th Pro Bowl game, before he was arrested, the NFL has not taken any action against Kamara or Lamans, with both of them playing this season. The lawsuit, which was filed last Friday, in civil district court in Orleans, includes stills of surveillance footage and hotel and casino, as well as photos of Green after the beating and the details from the police report. Green was punched in the face and stomped on near an elevator and was unconscious for over 2 minutes. The lawsuit claims Kamara deliberately used violent force against Green with the intent to inflict actual damage. Yeah, I don't think there's any settling on this one. It kind of sounds like, we'll have to see what the charges are going to be, but that doesn't sound too dissimilar to a fucking attempted murder if this dude was out for a couple of minutes. Green's orbital lobe was broken, and he had several injuries to his shoulder, back, head, knees, face, and neck in the lawsuit. Holy fuck. Kamara's agent, Brad Sakala, declined to comment on the lawsuit, but said that he's looking into trade opportunities to the Las Vegas Raiders. Green of Houston is represented by the Busby law firm, who also was involved in numerous lawsuits against Browns quarterback DeShaun Watson. Yeah, imagine that. Okay, he ended up getting a couple of happy endings from like 20 some odd accusers or some shit like that, and that motherfucker got canceled out of half the season, 8 games, 6 games, or some shit like that. That's interesting. He settled a whole handful of lawsuits. Some other ones are going to trial in some form or fashion. But no, he immediately gets taken off. Okay, he didn't even play all of last year. Sure, he was sitting out because in protest of the Houston Texans, but the NFL will take swifter punishment for somebody who has a bunch of allegations of something happening to a woman, as opposed to video evidence of one of their players committing actual crimes, committing tangible, verifiable beatings. Just interesting to point out. Now, I'm totally on the side where it's like, okay, handle your shit off the field. Okay, if you can't actually make it to the game because you got court or you're going to prison, that's another thing. But until that point in time comes across, I hate the way that professional sports is handling their fucking business right now. It's too goddamn soft, at least for my tastes. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.